What are cells? Cells are the smallest functional unit of an organism, which is a living thing. In the year 1665, Robert Hooke initially discovered cells, which has eventually given way to many of our modern scientific advancements. There are two categories which decide whether a cell is eukaryotic or prokaryotic. If a cell contains a nucleus, it is eukaryotic, whereas if a cell has a nucleoid instead, it is classified as a prokaryote. The types of organisms include animals, plants, protists, and bacteria, which can exist as either unicellular or multicellular. However, none of this is even possible if you do not apply the 7 life processes. It is essential, because if something does not do even one of the 7 life processes, it is not an organism. The 7 life processes are movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. Coincidentally, this spells Mrs. Nerg or Mrs. Gren, which makes it much easier to remember. Life Process 1. Movement. Movement is the process in which a thing or object is in motion. This life process is used in everyday life, from walking to the fridge to walking in a park. Life Process 2. Respiration. Every cell in an organism can respirate, which means they release energy from food. Mainly, respiration occurs because of the important mitochondria. Life Process 3. Sensitivity. Sensitivity simply means that an organism can sense what is going on around them and is able to respond to it. For example, animals have sense organs such as eyes, which tells them what is happening around them. Life Process 4. Growth. Growth is the permanent increase of an organism's size over a certain time period. At a cellular level, the cells reproduce, and therefore increasing the number of cells in an organism. Life Process 5. Reproduction. Reproduction is the production of offspring. There are 2 types of reproduction, which include asexual and sexual. Asexual means that an organism can reproduce without a partner, whereas if an organism is sexual, it can only reproduce with a partner. Life Process 6. Excretion. Excretion is where an organism rids themselves of waste substances, or in another matter, rid themselves of waste products. Life Process 7. Nutrition. Nutrition is the biological process where an organism consumes food to support its life. It includes ingestion, absorption, assimilation, photosynthesis, catabolism, and excretion. Like I mentioned earlier, a cell can be either prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Eukaryotic cells contain a nucleus, whereas a prokaryotic cell contains a nucleoid instead. A nucleus and nucleoid are similar except for one key difference. A nucleoid, which stores genetic information, is chromosomal, meaning that its genetic information is tightly compacted to fit inside a bacteria cell. In other words, genetic information in a prokaryotic cell is not surrounded by a nuclear membrane, which means that it is able to scatter around the bacteria's body. The main components of a simple animal cell include mitochondria, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and a nucleus, which we have already discussed. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like fluid that fills up the cell and is where most chemical reactions occur. However, it is important mainly because it keeps the organelles in place. Next, a mitochondrion is where most respiration occurs, which means they are involved with releasing energy from food. This is why they are usually referred to as the powerhouse of the cell. Lastly, the cell membrane is what encloses the cell's organelles and ensures that they are in place. However, some cells have 2 walls. For example, plant cells have cell membranes and cell walls because they do not have bones like animals do. So having an extra wall is essential to keep the plant sturdy. I hope you enjoyed this biology video. See you next time. Bye.